Mayor Pro Tem Samra.
Present.
Mayor Soria.
Present.
For the record, Councilmember C. Kairos is currently not in attendance, but his absence is excused.
Changes to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recommend that we move item, because we have a lot of folks that obviously have traveled a long distance. The officer swearing in to be moved in front. Number 5 to be moved at this time, and then 18, and then in the order presented.
Okay, that's fine. We'll move on to awards, presentations of proclamations. Number 5, Chief.
Yeah, it does record, so you want it there. No, it does record. It just
Should be on.
Well, first I'd like to invite our police chaplain, Mike Allen, for the invocation for today's ceremony.
Good evening. Good evening. Looking good. Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you, Lord, to guide and lead our leaders here. We thank you for our mayor and our officers involved here. Father, we stand and praise that you've given us the opportunity to be in this land today. Ask you to guide our leaders in wisdom. We pray for our nation. We pray for our local leaders. And we definitely pray for Livingston right here, right now. And we thank you, Lord, for leading God to make decisions that's going to bring unity to our nation, to our people here. Lord, I pray for the officers trying to be sworn in, for Thomas and Joseph, and for Edward, that you lead and guide them, protect them and their families as they do the most awesome service to commit their lives to serve the people of Livingston, property of Livingston, and dedicating themselves to uphold the law. Father, we thank you for this community and what you've done for Livingston, how you're going to increase us up in the knowledge of you, to know who you are, and we give you all the thanks and all the praise. In our Lord's name, amen. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. I appreciate your words of wisdom. And before I start, I'm talking something else here. Before I start, I'd like to recognize a few people here in the audience. Some folks have made it possible to hire 3 new officers to our department. First, I'd like to start with our command officer, Lieutenant Chris Soria. And Lieutenant Soria has been in the department for 35 years. Next, Lieutenant Soria is going to be our FTO sergeant, who's going to help train the officers, Sergeant Ray Fong. Next, I'd like to thank and introduce our former mayor and county board supervisor, Rodrigo Espinoza. Got some folks that made this real possible. Dr. Jocelyn Rowland and her sidekick Brandon. I don't think the background are into the ceremony, but Stephen Ward does an excellent job. He's got some backgrounds very quickly, so I thank Stephen for using the audience for that. Thank you. And somebody very important, Tracy, police officer, Letitia Monte, who actually used to be a Livingston police officer, and she was the TAC officer for these officers at the academy. Letitia? And lastly, 43 business rep, Darren Seymour, and also Chris Lucas. And I don't know that Darren made it to Christmas here. And Mayor, council, family, friends, law enforcement colleagues, it's a great honor that we introduce 3 new officers tonight. What's neat about this is I don't think we've hired 3 officers at one time. And this actually will bring us up to full strength, the opportunity to keep our community that much more safer. And sometimes it's little challenges, kind of like earlier we were talking about walkers. We ran out of walker space, so we have to make adjustments for that. So that's a good thing. So, all these officers just graduated from the same academy, San Joaquin Delta College Police Academy. And I'm sure Officer Fonte could probably tell us a few stories about the academy with these officers. But it's an honor to have you join our department. And I want to recognize the officers that are here in the room, officers and the civilian staff who make our community safe. So these officers work hard, and the dispatchers work hard, and our civilian staff works hard to keep our community safe. And I mentioned this at the last council meeting. Last year, we experienced 0 homicides. Our robberies and rapes were down. Our theft was down. Our stolen vehicles were down. We had a few ticks up, but overall things were down. I just want to thank them for the hard work they do to keep our community safe. After we swear the officers, we're going to present them with one of our challenge coins. For those of you familiar with challenge coins, it's a tradition that started, some say in World War I, some say back in the Roman Empire. It was a way for us to give our staff a medallion, item that shows who they are. And we do have a Livingston challenge coin which has 3 words inscribed along with our badge and our patch, something that we should be proud of. So I'd like to tell you what's on that challenge coin. I'll present it to them after, and I'd like to give them a second coin for their loved one. The first word is courage, and Webster's defines courage as it pertains to a police officer, is the ability and willingness to confront danger. Officers confront danger on a daily basis. There might be times when they're talking to a high school senior and trying to mentor them, or the next time, 2 minutes later, being a call to respond to a violent incident where they have to arrest somebody who might be on drugs or a gang member. And so they have the courage to face those challenges. Secondly, integrity. Integrity is defined as a quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. And I can thank Dr. Wallace and other staff for making sure that our officers have strong moral principles. Police officers go through their backgrounds and an exam to ensure that they have the qualities it takes to be fair, law-abiding members of the law enforcement community. Our community expects and deserves a person who puts on the badge to be honest and forthright, and they are held to a higher standard than the rest of the community. The third word that is on that coin is compassion. Police officers must have the compassion for the people they serve. They're human beings, not robots. So there are times of tragedy and sorrow that it's okay to cry and not be seen as weak. And at the same time, be bold and stand up for what you believe. So I appreciate those words of character and value that our officers subscribe to. So I'd like to introduce each officer. I'll introduce them one at a time and have them come up to the front. Our first officer is Officer Edward Eddie Jimenez. Eddie was born in Staten Island, New York. At the age of 2, moved to Sacramento area, where in 1999 he graduated from Cordova High School. Shortly after, he served his country in the United States Marine Corps as an infantryman, where he honorably discharged in 2004. His mechanic skills allowed him to work on vehicles in several locations. At one time, he opened up his own company. And I think having those type of skills will help some more mechanics that we see his job as. And Art Merritt will do a great job, and I'm sure we're going to give him a name. So. Eddie also volunteers his time working with children to help them on computers and other tasks. As mentioned, Eddie recently graduated from San Joaquin Delta Police Academy. In attendance tonight are his wife Jennifer, his daughters Madison and Nutella, his parents Margaret and Ben Valenzuela, his mother-in-law Laura Boucher, his sister-in-law Joel Tyson, his sister Linda Tolvera, and numerous friends. Pinning on his badge tonight will be his wife Jennifer. Next officer is Officer Joseph Joe Thornburg. Joe graduated from Liberty Ranch High School in Galt in 2013. He went on to study a few semesters at Costumes River College in Sacramento. He previously worked on landscaping at Brewster's Bar and Grill in Galt, and more recently with the city of Galt as a sports coordinator. So Jack, I think I have a volunteer for you. Jack is our recreation director. He was also also a police cadet in Gulf for a year. In attendance tonight is his father and father's girlfriend, Toby Thornburg and Mariah Ghetto, his grandparents, Sandra and Steve Magana, his brother Jared Thornburg, and his aunt Cynthia Sager, family friend Andre Kojimas, and Joe's cadet advisor, Lodi, police officer Nathan Willis. Sitting on his badge tonight will be his mother, Carrie Masoni. Third officer is Officer Thomas T.J. Griffin. T.J. graduated from Alhambra High School in Martinez, California in 2002. He attended Diablo Valley College and University of California, Davis. He also attended medical responder training at Mountain Valley Agency Wildland EMS and Mariposa County Volunteer and Fire Academy. And he just received his associate's degree from Delta College in Police Science. He has previously worked in construction as a project manager working on large-scale projects. And I think we can back here that you probably need some TJ also has worn several different hats. As a court-appointed special advocate in Mariposa County, where he volunteered to mentor youth who had come in contact with the judicial system. TJ was given high marks in this area when working with youth. Something that would help him with our youth here in Livingston. TJ also worked as a volunteer firefighter with Mariposa County Fire Department and as a ranch hand on his family's large ranch. He worked hard for caring for livestock and returning facilities. In attendance tonight is his mother and stepfather, Jan Griffin and Pat Arias, his brother Stockton, police officer John Griffin, and his family friends Dana Whittle and Jeff Byrne. Pinning on his badge tonight will be his mother, Jan Griffin, and his brother, John Griffin. Again, it's very exciting to hire 3 officers. Many agencies across California are struggling to get quality folks on the department. And so I'm proud to have myself join our department. And I'd like to call Mayor Soria to come and do the other box.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Livingston. If you're not from here, it's a pleasure to have you here, and all family and friends are welcome. What I'll do is I'll have you guys raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I'll try not to go too fast because probably we don't get the word jump. So when I say I, repeat, state your name, and then we'll go into the oath. So I state your name. You solemnly swear and affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations, officers. It's a true honor swearing in our new officers on prior law enforcement, so it's emotional for me, so I'm sure that they're starting and down their journey, and welcome to Livingston. Thank you.
Invite the loved ones that are going to be on the badge to come forward. And please, if anybody wants to come up and take some pictures, we've got lots of room here, so don't be shy. Come up and take some pictures.
got your vest on, TJ. It's not Stafford.
You're number one.
All right, one of the two guys are going to get some
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Livingston police officers Eddie Jimenez, Joe Thornburg, and TJ Griffin. Gentlemen, since it's a very special time, the first assignment you choose accepted is to make a few comments, please. And start out with
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the City of Livingston, the Department, Chief Valdez, for this opportunity. This has been 2 years of dreaming, a year of very hard work, and I couldn't be happier to be serving the people of Livingston. I want to say special thanks to my mother and my stepfather, Pat Arias. Without their help and support, today wouldn't have possibly happened. I'm very happy to be joining my brother John Griffin in the law enforcement community, and I look forward to serving the City of Livingston for a long time. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say thank you to the City of Livingston for giving me this opportunity. I want to say thanks to my family for always being behind me and helping me in every step of the way through this journey. I'd also like to say thank you to Officer Woods, who mentored me at the Police Department and has prepared me every step of the way to be successful in this career.
Livingston Police Department for giving me the opportunity to serve the community. My friends and family for being here, and first and foremost my wife, who has supported me through this journey. I couldn't do it without her. Thank you.
Great for this proposal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our family and friends, we're going to open up our police department for a special tour, hands-on tour. Sergeant Fong's going to provide that tour. And so right now we're going to take a 10-minute break, allow you guys to take a few pictures and then go for the tour, and then we'll continue with the council meeting after. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. Want to say something? Yeah. Okay, hold on 1 second, please.
I just want to thank our police department. Thank you for keeping us safe, and we appreciate it. And your hard work does not go unnoticed. And just thinking back, I went to school with Sergeant Fong and Corporal Becerra in the back, so it's nice to know that we're in good hands. And I remember being in high school, not to date your age, you were on the police department back when I was in high school. So thank you, police department. Thank you, all our departments. Your hard work is appreciated.
Yeah. I also want to say the same. Our police department is very important to us. I've supported them over the years, and we will continue to support them. They make the community what it is, nice and safe for our kids and for our families and our loved ones, for everybody. So there's a debt we can hardly ever repay to you guys. And also, Letitia, you probably don't remember me, but how about hit 21? Come on in. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, and, you're well open to the chief's invitation. Thank you. We're gonna take our break.
Should I search again?
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying that. And we'll be going into item 18, Resolution 2017, to consider making an appointment to fill the vacancies on the Planning Commission.
And for that one, Mayor, I believe Randy Hatch had, I don't know, I think he's here, had just a brief words just to give kind of the background on who is up and the ending of the terms, et cetera.
Sorry, Councilman, I didn't expect to move so early. So, wasn't here, but the staff report is pretty self-explanatory in that 3 of the commissioners' terms expired at the end of 2016. And so per your direction a couple of months earlier, we put in notices to advertise and to invite people to apply. And we had a number of people submit applications. 2 of the existing commissioners who termed expired would like to continue to serve. And so those folks are Mr. Wallace, who served as the alternate, and he did quite a bit of service filling in as the alternate due to sickness and work travel and so forth. And then actually it was our chair. Mr. I'm blanking out. Ranjit. He would like to continue to serve. And then we had 3 more. Oh, there's 4 more. Let me get that page up here. I'm trying to do this from memory. Let me get to section 18. Yeah, we had 3 more that applied. So the applications and their materials are in your packet, and the rest is up to you. Any questions of me? I'll be happy to address them.
Any questions, Council? Okay. I'll open up to public comment at 7:48. Anyone wishing to make any comment, please step up and state your name and for the record.
Catherine Shell Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163, Livingston. I am assuming that the member of the council has thoroughly read through the applications that are in the packet before them. If I might humbly make one suggestion, given the nature of the duties of the Planning Commission and the technical reading that is involved, I would suggest that you select, if you are to select new members, that you select those new members that have either have already a background in being on the Planning Commission or that have a background in engineering or a related field.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I don't see anyone else. We'll close public comment at 7:49. I'll bring it back to council. Any comments?
In regards to recruit or appointing, we have several applicants that suggest we do like interviews. Have you guys done them as interviewing?
Point of order. Could the members of the council please speak louder? We can't hear back here.
Okay. What I said was that if there's 5 applicants, if I suggest that we do interviews to meet each applicant and talk to them about their interest to be appointed.
Councilman Aguilar, thank you. Any other comments or?
That's, is that a motion or is that a suggestion?
Once we're in discussion, any other suggestions? I was just a suggestion in general.
If I may, just to clarify the suggestion would be to have, at this time, possibly the applicants come up one by one and tell you a little about themselves and kind of answer any questions from the city council, correct? Not interviews at another time or anything, or what was
Yeah.
at this time?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you want to bring them up? Councilmember Aguilar, I don't have a problem with that, of course. But if we were going to do this, then we need to I don't know if all the applicants are here. So then we need to reschedule, give every applicant opportunity to attend. Then we can go ahead and do the process. If that's what you wish, and that's okay. But is that what you wish to do, or you wish to?
Schedule it for another day.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
We do a roll call real quick, find out. It's like more.
I mean, we know who they are. I mean, I see 1 and 2, but I don't see the other 3.
Okay. Want to entertain a motion?
Go ahead.
All right. I move we postpone this item until the next regular scheduled meeting where we request all of the applicants to come do a brief statement and interview questions.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 4-0.
And next, we'll move into appointments to boards and commissions. Item 4, discuss and make city council appointments to city boards, commissions, and committees.
And I think here, Mayor, the easiest thing to do would be to go down the list of the different boards in order for the council to appoint. And then maybe at the end, after we could either do a motion, maybe at the end, after everybody gets sorted out of where, or we could go through every commission and maybe do a motion, a second, and a vote. Maybe that way we get every commission out of the way, or every commission and committee. Also, just a reminder to open it up for public comment before decisions are made.
So I'll go ahead and read A through F, and then I'll open it up for public comment. A will be member and alternate Merced County Association of Governments, MCAG Governing Board, currently Mayor Pro Tem Samra, member Councilmember Sicaros, alternate. Item B, member Merced County Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, currently Councilmember McCabe. Representing alternate Central Valley Division League of California Cities, currently Mayor Soria, Representative Councilmember McCabe. D, member alternate Merced County Mosquito Abatement District Board of Directors, currently Mayor Soria, Representative not designated or alternate. And E, representative alternate Special City Selection Committee of the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control Board. And F, City Council Liaison, Livingston Planning Commission. So we'll start with, yeah, let's open up public comment at 7:54. Can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay.
Well, I was in the back. I don't know if the microphones are not that working that good. That's what I was just going to say. Maybe she would speak on the mic, but I don't think they're working, so.
No, the speakers out.
Speakers out too?
Speakers are not working.
Okay, so just speak a little bit louder. That's just what I was going to say. Thank you.
Catherine Shaw Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163. I want to speak briefly about item D, member and alternate to the Merced County Mosquito Abatement District Board of Directors. Please correct me if I am wrong, but for at least the past 13 years, the representative to the Mosquito Abatement District was a Livingston resident, not a member of the council. It was only after Marge McFadden passed away that it was delegated to the former mayor on an emergency basis, and from him to the current mayor on an emergency basis. When she passed away, the council took it upon themselves to hand this duty over. Now it is time to appoint someone new. To be fair, shouldn't you at least ask if any resident of the city of Livingston is interested in serving on the board like Marge McFadden did? And then select another resident as an alternative so that we have a resident who is the appointed person and another resident as an alternate? Or have you already decided amongst yourselves to take this for yourselves and keep it for yourselves and deny a resident the chance to serve?
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? All right, we'll close it at 7:57, and we'll come back with item A, council. Anyone wishing to make a motion to?
Okay, does anybody want to volunteer for anything?
I would like to volunteer for the Central Valley Division League of California Cities.
Okay, anybody else wants to volunteer?
NCAG, one of the two is fine with me.
Okay, anybody else? I mean, I'm not taking away from you, Mr. Mayor, but just.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So what was liaison to the cities?
Okay. Then do you?
If Councilmember Aguilar wishes to Central Valley Division League of California Cities.
And
Do we need should we get the alternate there?
Yes.
And just finish that one.
yeah.
I'll go and be an alternate.
Okay. Then is that a motion, sir?
Yes,
Mr. Mayor?
make a motion.
Okay.
To,
I will second that motion.
have a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 4-0.
And then Councilmember McCabe, which is the one that you were mentioning?
NCAG.
MCAG. Okay.
Okay. I made the motion. We appoint Councilmember McCabe and alternate Councilmember Sicaros.
I second.
Roll call. Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 4-0.
Okay, next we have LAFCO.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Samra for that one if I can. If you're willing to do that.
Yes, I will. And I will nominate Councilmember McCabe as an alternate.
Perfect.
So motion, I second.
Roll call. Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 4-0.
I wouldn't mind to doing Livingston Planning Commission.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Mayor? Okay. I'd like to make the motion that we appoint Councilmember Aguilar to the City Council liaison to the Planning Commission.
Second. Make a roll call.
Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 4-0.
Next we have, we did Lego Cities.
Okay, which one? Okay, I'd like to make the motion that we permanently appoint Mayor Soria to the mosquito abatement.
I second.
And does anybody want to be an alternate?
There's no alternate.
There's no alternate? Okay.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay.
Councilman, second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McCabe,
Real quick, point of order, that one needs a term designation with it. Can't just be a
2 years.
2 years. Okay. If we can add that into the motion, that's necessary.
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay, 2 years. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 4-0.
Which one are we missing now?
The airborne there.
Okay, you snooze, you lose. I'd like to appoint Councilmember Secaros to the San Joaquin.
Second.
All right.
Okay, and I'll appoint Councilmember McCabe as an alternate.
A second also.
Okay.
Roll call.
Councilmember McCabe,
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samra,
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 4-0.
Next, we'll move on to PowerPoint presentation, item 6, Sanctuary Cities by Christy Gallardo, Community Organizer, Merced Organization Project, MOP.
Hi everyone, City Council, community members. Buenas noches a todos, el concilio y toda la comunidad. Gracias por estar aquí el día de hoy. I am going to take the liberty of doing our presentation in both English and Spanish. I want to respect the fact that we do have monolingual Spanish speakers, and in public meetings we need to make sure that when residents come out, they're getting the full information. Voy a estar hablando en inglés y español. Queremos respetar a todos ustedes que han venido aquí, y especialmente si tenemos a personas de nuestra comunidad que hablan solamente el español. Queremos asegurarnos que entiendan todo. So, my name is Crisantema, Community Organizer with Faith in Merced. And today I'm here to talk more about sanctuary cities along with 2 of our Livingston leaders. They'll introduce themselves. So, hoy vamos a estar hablando sobre la ciudad santuario y tenemos a 2 líderes de Livingston que también van a presentar.
Mi nombre es Floripes. ¿Me escuchan? Ok. Mi nombre es Floripes. Yo ya llevo más de 30 años viviendo acá en la comunidad de Livingston. Y también quiero agradecer a todas las personas que nos están acompañando acá para apoyar que la comunidad de Livingston sea santuario.
I'll be interpreting English. This is Flor. She's been living in Livingston in this community for more than 30 years. She is undocumented, and she would like to begin by saying that she's happy to see the community here today to support the need for a sanctuary city.
La comunidad de Livingston nunca, que yo sepa, venimos a pedir algo, pero hoy estamos aquí todos unidos para exigir que Livingston sea santuario con la ayuda de ustedes.
Today we are here because we want to count on your leadership to make sure that Livingston is an inclusive community, one that is safe for everyone. And we're here asking that because we make a huge part of this community. And Flor wants to lift up that she feels that as community members, a lot of times we don't ask for things, but in this very critical moment, it is important that we work together.
No sé si ustedes saben, pero las escuelas de aquí del del kinder hasta el grado 8 ya son santuarias.
Flor wants to lift up that, we did have Livingston Elementary School District, K through 8th grade schools declare sanctuary.
Aquí tenemos personas que tienen parientes que están luchando que están en el Army, en los Marines, y yo pienso que no es justo de que tengan a sus padres acá y sean deportados.
Flor knows community members in Livingston that are undocumented and have children that are serving in the Army, in the Marines, and she thinks that it's a huge contradiction that those kids are allowed to serve this country, yet their parents are living in this community with the fear of deportation.
Este país se ha construido con inmigrantes.
This country, this community is built by immigrants.
En 1776, cuando se firmó la Constitución, la firmó gente de Inglaterra y por eso es que se celebra el día de Thanksgiving.
El día de dar gracias. She wanted to lift up that in 1776 we signed the Constitution, and that's a big part of this country.
Nosotros como seres humanos tenemos el derecho de vivir libre en un país libre como Estados Unidos.
We as human beings should have the ability to live with liberty in this country.
¿Qué pasaría si nosotros como inmigrantes no estuviéramos aquí? ¿Piensan que los americanos van a hacer el trabajo de los hispanos?
What would happen if our community lost all of its immigrants? It is not common for citizens to say that they're going to be part of the agricultural work that our undocumented folks are the backbone of agriculture.
Y como saben, aquí en la comunidad de Livingston hay mucho trabajo para las personas que trabajan en el campo, del durazno, del camote, de la almendra.
And here in Livingston, in this city, we know that a lot of our jobs depend on agriculture. Picking peaches, working in the almond fields, working in jams.
¿Ustedes piensan que los que nacieron aquí, los americanos, van a hacer ese trabajo cuando las temperaturas están más de 100 grados?
You know, we know that our undocumented folks work in harsh environments that other people might not want to work in. In the summer, when the weather hits triple digits, we depend on these workers.
Okay. Y también afecta la economía. Y ya es todo. Y también una cosa más, que también nosotros como inmigrantes cuando compramos unas casas o así, estamos haciendo por la economía y también pagamos impuestos, nosotros los inmigrantes.
She also just lifted up that as immigrants belonging to this community, immigrants pay taxes, immigrants are homeowners in this community.
Hello, my name is Adriana Mesa. Buenas noches a todos. Me llamo Adriana Mesa. I am here to ask for Livingston to become a sanctuary city. Estoy aquí para pedirles que se haga la ciudad de Livingston un santuario. I've been living here in Livingston for 22 years now. I was brought here when I was 4 years old, and I went from kinder to high school. He estado yo viviendo aquí en Livingston por 22 años. He ido de kinder hasta graduarme de la Livingston High School. I'm a student at Fresno State. I am a deferred childhood arrival recipient. I don't know if you're familiar with DACA. Yo soy una estudiante en Fresno State y soy, como le dicen, dreamers, tengo DACA. No sé si son familiarizados con el programa DACA. Entonces, estoy aquí para pedirles que queremos a nuestras familias juntas. Queremos que se sientan seguros. I'm here to ask you for Livingston to be a sanctuary city. we want our families together. We want to feel safe. As Flor mentioned, our elementary schools are a sanctuary, and Fresno State is a sanctuary school, and I feel safe. But when I leave town, I think of my mom, and I feel that if our community has our back, we will feel safer to go out, to even call the police. Yes, some of them, when you're undocumented, you don't feel safe calling the police, especially now, this time. And les vine a pedir porque ser undocumentado uno tiene miedo de salir. Yo voy a la escuela, la escuela es un centenario, me siento segura, pero cuando me voy a la escuela, dejo aquí y mi madre está trabajando. Entonces, tengo el miedo de que cuando regrese, algo se la pueden llevar, algo puede pasar. My little sister, she's scared. She didn't want to go to school. Mi hermanita también tiene miedo por lo que pueda pasar por mi mamá. So this is why we're here asking to see if you have if we have the support of our community. I want to feel that I belong somewhere. Lately, that's not how I feel. At school, I may belong, but when I come home, it's still the same thing. Queremos que seamos parte de algo. Queremos que sepamos nosotros que la comunidad de Livingston los tiene al apoyo de ellos. Gracias.
We've heard from community members like Flor, Adriana, and myself being the daughter of an undocumented farm worker in this county. We are here to share with y'all what it means to be an inclusive community. Hemos escuchado de los residentes de esta comunidad, los obstáculos y el dolor que existe en nuestras familias. Yo también siendo hija de un campesino indocumentado, y por eso ahorita les vamos a compartir qué quiere decir ser una comunidad inclusiva. One, we are asking you all, we want to work with you, city council members, to create a city resolution that is a way for our communities to, one, work with law enforcement so that our local resources will not be going to the needs of the federal government. We want our local dollars with our law enforcement to be going for new officers and not to be collaborating with ICE and spending resources on that. Queremos asegurarnos de que nuestra comunidad indocumentada esté segura aquí, que la policía local no esté colaborando con inmigración, que los recursos, el dinero de la policía local sea para más policías de esta comunidad, no para estar colaborando con inmigración. We are also asking that if a city wants to be a sanctuary and inclusive of all its people, that if our communities if at the national level we pass stop and frisk resolutions, that cities stand up against that and actually respect the rights of all of its citizens. Estamos pidiendo también que para ser santuario, si al nivel federal se pasan leyes donde la policía puede parar a la gente y hacer lo que quiera, que las ciudades santuarias se levanten y digan que no están de acuerdo con esas pólizas injustas. We also want our sanctuary cities to say no to a Muslim registry, where we welcome our Muslim sisters and brothers to feel like they are respected and that we treat them with dignity regardless of their religion affiliation. Nosotros también estamos pidiendo que si quieren ser comunidad santuario, que en las ciudades den oportunidad que toda la gente pueda ser de cualquier religión, que no dejen y apoyen que nuestros hermanos y hermanas musulmanas se tengan que registrar que, o tengan que dar sus datos, como se está oyendo que quiere pasar. We are, our sanctuary, what we want for sanctuary encompasses immigration. What does that look like? It means that our local law enforcement continues to do its job locally and is not having to take on more responsibilities that belong to federal agents of ICE. Con inmigración, que la policía no esté colaborando con inmigración. Again, just the stop and frisk policies. And here's an example. We had the opportunity, community members from this county were able to go to Sacramento and meet the mayor of Santa Ana, who was extremely proactive when we started noticing that our immigrant communities were under attack, and communities of color as a whole. And we have this sample resolution. The mayor of Santa Ana is willing to directly communicate with this city council to share how that city council wrote this resolution. Gente de este condado tuvo la oportunidad de conocer al alcalde de Santa Ana. El alcalde de Santa Ana inmediatamente desde diciembre hicieron esta resolución allá en esa ciudad y él está dispuesto de hablar con el concilio de Livingston. This is a sample resolution. And I also just want to lift up that we know that sanctuary cities, there's a report that was published, are doing better in the economy because our undocumented loved ones feel comfortable going into town and purchasing food and purchasing homes. They want to be part of that community and they're spending their money locally. And sanctuary cities are also safer. Our undocumented folks feel comfortable in calling law enforcement when they're victims of crime if they know that their status will not have consequences. Sabemos que ciudades santuarias son más seguras porque la comunidad indocumentada está dispuesta a trabajar con la policía local. Si somos víctimas de un crimen, con más cómodos llamamos al policía porque sabemos que no nos va a afectar nuestro estatus migratorio. Y también las ciudades santuarias hacen mejor en la economía porque las familias indocumentadas se sienten seguras y gastan más su dinero o compran hasta casas porque se sienten cómodos en esa comunidad. I also want to raise, right, we've heard a lot coming from DC, from our president, saying that, inclusive communities are going to suffer economically. Yet we know that our state is already moving on this with the California Values Act. We also are supporting the California Values Act, which would end collaboration throughout the entire state of local law enforcement entities with federal ICE agents and create those safe havens in all government agencies, offices, and schools throughout the state. And we want to count on your leadership in also passing a city resolution. Nosotros sabemos que también a nivel estatal, en la acta de confianza, ya están hablando sobre la importancia de que la policía en todo el estado no colabore con agentes de inmigración. Por lo tanto, queremos contar en el liderazgo de nuestro concilio para asegurarnos que no se esperen a que el estado haga algo, que ellos aquí localmente ya pueden comenzar.
Thank you. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yes. And
Okay.
I actually would love to hear if any of you have any comments or would like to work with, we need your leadership and we are more than happy to work with you to connect you with the mayor of Santa Ana and draft this resolution. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
I'd like to open it up to the public if they want to come up. Si gustarían presentarse, then su nombre y su domicilio, por favor. Please state your name and address as you come up. If you wish to make comments, si gustarían dar un comentario, then su nombre y su domicilio, por favor.
Mi nombre es Seida Maldonado, 1234 8th Street. Estoy aquí también para pedir la ayuda de ustedes. I'm here to ask for your help away from them, it breaks my heart. Yo estoy aquí para pedirle a toda la comunidad que nos unamos. Yo tengo hijos y el miedo de que me separen de mis hijos me rompe mi corazón. No nomás de mis hijos, tengo mis padres, tengo mis hermanos, que a mí me dolería dejarlos. And it's a hard decision, es una decisión difícil, but I know it could be done. Why? Because we're a community. We're always together. Yo sé que eso se va a poder, ¿por qué? Porque somos una comunidad unida. Y una comunidad unida nunca se queda atrás. Nosotros tenemos la voz, nosotros podemos levantar la voz y no dejar que esto pase. I want to be with my family. I want my family to stay together. I don't want to know that I'm in Mexico and my kids are here. To me, that's, I wouldn't be able to take that. I can't. You have kids. Put yourself in my shoes. You wouldn't want to be separated from your kids, would you? I don't. I don't want to be separated from my family. Yo soy indocumentada. I don't have papers. And I've been in Livingston for over 25 years. I lived here. I grew up here. My kids are growing up here. Tengo 25 años aquí. Y a mí no me gustaría que me separaran de mis hijos o me separaran de mi familia. Como comunidad estoy aquí. No vengo en mis mejores ropas. I don't look nice. I'm not dressed, but I'm here. Why? Because I want everybody to know that as a community we can come together. Como comunidad nos podemos unir. No vengo en las mejores ropas, pero eso es lo que más me importa. ¿Por qué? Porque yo quiero que mi voz sea escuchada. Porque tengo derechos. Y porque quiero
Thank you. ¿Alguien más gustaría dar un comentario? Please come up and state your name.
Julio Valadez, P.O. Box 777, Livingston. I just have a couple questions. I don't know if the chief can answer right now, but what is the current policy the police department has when they pull over someone or when they go to a crime or something? Do they ask the people they pull over if they're undocumented or? Lo que pregunté al jefe de policía es qué es ahorita la póliza que tiene el departamento de policías cuando paran a alguien o van a un crimen, si preguntan a las gentes involucradas si son indocumentados.
Yeah, Jose, thanks for that question. There is nothing in policy that asks that we ask the citizen status of anybody we come in contact with. That role is normally reserved for people that might come into the judicial system through whether it's an arrest, and that's mostly dealt at the county level, not the local level.
Ok, lo que dijo el jefe de policías, la respuesta es que aquí el departamento de policías no tiene una póliza que les tenga que preguntar a nadie si son indocumentados o no. So, aquí en Livingston en mi opinión no tienen que tener miedo porque el departamento de policías no va a preguntarle eso. Is that right?
I really want to commend our police chief and the Livingston City Police Department because they are definitely respecting the right of our immigrant community and been working to harvest the trust. And I think that in this critical moment, and I hear from my own dad who's undocumented, it's the fact that with everything that's happening, our undocumented folks are being attacked. Their entire identity is being attacked. And if the city is already working on that trust and not asking for status, I think that should even facilitate and make it easier for the city to say, hey, we are sanctuary. You know, when our communities feel this way, It's important for our city's leadership, like to hear from the police chief, from our mayor, from our city council members, that they can be safe and that Livingston is a safe haven. Quiero decir que sabemos que el jefe de policía de Livingston y el departamento de policía de Livingston están haciendo su trabajo, porque ellos no están pidiendo el estatus de la gente y sí nos están tratando con respeto. Sin embargo, en este momento, cuando nuestra comunidad inmigrante nos están atacando de varias diferentes maneras, es muy importante que el jefe de policía, el alcalde y todo el concilio públicamente diga que en esta comunidad somos inclusivos y que somos una comunidad segura para todos.
Good evening, Merced County Supervisor, District 1, Rodrigo Espinosa. Hola. Buenas noches, soy Rodrigo Espinosa, el supervisor del condado. Pues, I'm going to speak in Spanish a little bit and then I'll translate. La póliza de las leyes del condado y la ciudad la hacemos nosotros, los elegidos, para que ustedes nos eligen a nosotros. The policy of the county or cities, we, the electeds, we write the laws, we set the policy. We designate the chief of police. He should follow, I think, the direction of the city council together with the advice of the city attorney. La póliza del jefe de la policía, él sigue lo que nosotros le dirigimos. ¿Verdad? Solamente que sea elegido el policía, como es el sheriff del condado. Él es el sheriff, él es elegido por la gente también. Entonces él debe de recibir el apoyo de los supervisores del condado, que somos nosotros, trabajando juntos. No podemos ordenarle a él como es independiente elegido, pero sí podemos trabajar juntos para apoyarnos. Y as a county supervisor, we, as the board, we give direction, but when the elected is in this case the sheriff of the county is an elected position, he's independent of the board, so he has his own direction, but I think that he should be working together with the board of supervisors to make sure that we're working together, because we're the ones that we set the budget for the county. And if he's, I've talked to him and he says that he's not pushing the officers to ask for documents, but and I believe in him, and I just saw him this morning, and I know a lot of people have called us about ICE come in, and he said he hasn't received any word that they're in Merced County, but he's in anything he'll let me know. So yo les digo a la gente que el sheriff, hablé con él, me ha dicho que no, el ICE no ha entrado al condado, aunque a veces si se pasa por aquí por accidente también, es porque van de pasada, no porque están en el condado, pero sí él quedó de informarme si llegan para decirle a la gente para que no se preocupen, ¿eh? Así que cualquier pregunta, llámenme por favor, traigo tarjetas o me pueden llamar después, ¿ok? Gracias. Vamos con ustedes.
Ustedes están aquí para apoyar que Livingston se haga santuario. Por favor, usted. Yes. So I'm asking who is here to see Livingston become a sanctuary city. So these are the people. This is our community. We are here to ask you to think about it.
All right. Thank you. Do we have any more comments? ¿Alguien más que quiera comentar? Okay.
My name's Derek Gutierrez from 842 Cedar Lane. I've been a resident here, my whole life. I was born and raised here. Born in Sherlock, raised here, went to school. K through 12. And I can tell you firsthand, deportation is very bad. It kind of destroyed my family. 9 years ago, almost to the date, my dad was deported. Mi nombre es David Gutiérrez, para hace 9 años mi padre fue deportado. Yo les puedo decir de primera mano que es algo bien duro. A los 14 años fue cuando deportaron. At 14 years old was when he was deported. I came home from school. I saw his truck there. I was happy he was gonna, he was home from work. Then I find my mom crying inside. Encuentro a mi mamá dentro llorando y me dice, no sé, tu papá te deportar. And I thought it was a game because they would always play with me like that, like, oh yeah, he's not here. He got deported, something like that, just kind of brushing it off. And I can tell you the last 9 years have been tough. Los últimos 9 años han sido duros. De perder nuestra casa, from losing our house, being evicted, que lo sacaron, vino sheriff a sacarnos, gave us only 4 days. And while doing that, having to go to school and having to find, buscar la manera de cómo soportarnos, how to finding the way to make ends meet. It's been hard, and I can tell you, I really wish for the city of Livingston to be able to prevent that peak. That me and my family have felt, y me gustaría, y digo esto para que sepa que me gustaría mirar que Livingston sea un sanctuary, un santuario para los migrantes, porque no me gustaría mirar otro niño sufrir lo que he sufrido por los últimos 9 años. Tengo 23 años. I'm 23 years old. I work, make construction, I pay taxes, I do the whole thing. I mean, it's hard to learn by yourself how to do that. I felt like my childhood was taken from me. Yo siento como que me quitaron mi niñez. And I do hope that Livingston becomes a sanctuary to prevent more cases like mine. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es María Guadalupe Torres y tengo más de 20 años aquí en Livingston. La razón por la que me quedé aquí en Livingston fue porque había mucho trabajo y nos sentíamos seguros en esta ciudad. Todos trabajamos, tengo hijos que todavía no han podido arreglar y tengo hijos que son nacidos aquí. Todo el tiempo hemos vivido aquí, pero ahora con las nuevas leyes que están diciendo en las noticias y que están sacando, es por eso que nosotros ya no nos sentimos seguros. Por eso venimos a pedirles a ustedes, los representantes de nosotros, que nos ayuden a hacer una ciudad santuario para que la gente se vuelva a sentir igual, segura como cuando llegamos aquí. Es todo lo que quiero decir. Gracias.
So she just shared that she's been living in Livingston for more than 20 years, and the reason that she chose to live in Livingston is because she felt that this was a safe community. However, being undocumented, having some children that are undocumented, and also U.S. citizen children, which is common for our mixed status families, she is here because she wants, our city council, our mayor to use their leadership and their power to make our families feel safe once again. Because with everything that is happening throughout the nation, we need to hear that so that we feel safe and comfortable once again.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Guadalupe López y yo quiero contarles mi historia. Hace 7 años me deportaron al papá de mis hijos.
shared her story. 7 years ago, her husband was deported. He was the one that brought income into the household. And life after his deportation was extremely hard. Not only economically, he was the one that provided for the household, for the kids. It was also devastating to the kids. One of the children lost 15 pounds in 1 month, and they lost everything. They had to find a new home, and it was extremely sad for them when he was detained on Hammond Bridge. And one of her oldest sons left to the Marines with the hope that he would be able to fix his parents' papers and gain status for them. And she's here to, support Livingston being a sanctuary because, deportations are hard on families, and she does not want anyone or herself to go through that again.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments o alguien usted al comentario?
Hi, I'm Melissa Eisner. I'm at 544 Columbia Avenue in Merced. Is that okay for me to speak? Great. So I am a business owner in Merced, and I just wanted to reiterate the perspective that was expressed earlier, that there's an economic impact to the culture of fear and terror that you're kind of witnessing the ramifications of here. And there's been a promise that it's going to get a lot worse. And as a business owner, I'm in a unique position to maybe point out that is going to, that's something that's on all of our minds as small business owners. It's a very scary thing that our community is going to be experiencing this even worse than it already is. So please take into account when you consider making Livingston a sanctuary city that that would be protecting our community, and our community has an economic voice too. And again, I'm from Merced, and so I'm not from Livingston. But I think that if Livingston were to draft a sanctuary city statement, it would be a wonderful example for the surrounding cities. Thank you for your time.
Melissa compartió que ella vive en Merced, ella es dueña de un negocio en la comunidad de Merced, y que ella quería resaltar que es muy importante que se haga santuario Livingston y otras ciudades, porque sí tiene un impacto económico, que ella como alguien que es dueña de un negocio ve que el miedo y el terror que existe en la comunidad los va a impactar, y que la voz económica está de acuerdo con esto. Dijo que la ciudad de Livingston puede ser un ejemplo para las otras ciudades en este condado.
Quick public comment, council members in the audience. My Spanish is really bad, so
Could you please state your name, please?
Yes, Leslie McGowan. I am the CEO for Livingston Community Health, and I just want the community to know and the council to know that we are obligated and we take pride in serving our entire community. So I want you to know that Livingston Community Health is a safe place for this community to go. And we provide services for all of our community, regardless of your documentation or your status. And so I want the community to know that, and I think the council has a big decision in front of you. But thank you for hearing the community tonight.
Leslie McGowan es directora ejecutiva de la clínica aquí en Livingston, y ella se disculpa por no hablarles en español ella directamente, pero que ella quiere que todos ustedes sepan que la clínica de Livingston es un espacio seguro para todos, que ellos dan servicios a todos sin importar el estatus migratorio, y que ella sabe que el concilio tiene una decisión muy importante que tomar.
Thank you.
Good evening, buenas noches. I'm Luis Flores. Yo soy miembro de la mesa directiva aquí en el distrito escolar, en la ciudad de Livingston, y nosotros fuimos el primer distrito escolar para pasar esa resolución. No sé si leyeron el periódico o vieron las noticias, pero lo pasamos 5-0. Hoy le estamos pidiendo de la comunidad que seamos líderes en el estado, so we can have a unifying message. The school district passed it last month. First school district in the county to do it. First one from as north of Sacramento. Sacramento's the nearest one that's passed it. So let's show a message of progressiveness, of inclusiveness, and show the community that we care for them. So the school district is sanctuaries, city, let's make the city a sanctuary. Huh? And Planada. So two school districts in Merced County, both under your district. Yeah. So that's it. So let's do this for our community.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es José Morán, miembro de la comunidad de Livingston. He vivido aquí en esta comunidad por cerca de 12 años. Aquí han crecido mis hijos. Aquí tengo muchos familiares, conozco mucha gente aquí de la comunidad. Y les voy a recomendar por parte de la comunidad, recomendarle al mayor y a los concejales, considerar esto como algo muy serio. Aparte de todo, aparte de separar familias, aparte de afecta a los niños, afecta a la educación de los niños. Los niños no se pueden educar, no se pueden concentrar, no se pueden por tantas preocupaciones. Gracias a los miembros del distrito escolar que tomaron esta iniciativa por esa misma razón. Porque al tener a nuestros hijos, a nuestros estudiantes con preocupaciones, no se pueden enfocar, no quieren ir a la escuela, los papás no quieren mandar a sus hijos a la escuela porque ¿qué es lo que va a pasar? Con el temor de que los va a separar. Entonces, quiero recomendarle a los concejales y al alcalde tomar esto muy, muy en serio, porque la presencia de estas personas, de estos residentes aquí quiere decir mucho. Si no fuera importante para ellos, no estuvieran aquí. You know, I just want to say that and recommend to the council to take this very seriously. You know, there's the dilemma that they say that we can lose funds, but I mean we as a community look up to you guys. You know, if the state of California is looking into this really seriously, how can we not? We're part of a bigger community, but let's show our support. These people here, they're here for a reason because this is important to them. They wouldn't be here if it wasn't as important. And as in fact, for kids are even afraid of going to school. They're afraid of leaving their parents at home and coming back and not seeing them anymore. So and then parents are also afraid of sending their kids to school for the same reason. Let's be leaders. Let's keep the city as a city leader, and for other cities around us. Let's step out of our comfort zone, and let's not be afraid of what they're saying that they're going to do to us, and they're going to hold our funds for the city and stuff like that. I mean, just look at our state government. I mean, how can we not support them? All right, so let's just take this very seriously and really think about it, and let's step out of our comfort zone. Let's not be afraid of what others are going to say about us if we decide to go and make this a sanctuary city. Thanks.
No other comments. Si no hay más comentarios, I'll go ahead and close it at 8:46. And I want to thank you for your presentation. And I just want to let you know that as a council, we will take this serious, and we'll give direction to our city manager to work with you to get more information so we're more informed. And I just want to let the people know that, as the chief commented, don't be afraid to contact the police department. It's not something that they're going to ask if you're documented or undocumented. don't feel afraid that I'm going to call the police. So make sure that you do. Les digo que gracias por venir y sus comentarios, y no tengan miedo de hablarle a la policía. Ya el jefe dijo que no, es cosas que les preguntan si están documentados o no. Quiero decir que yo también, mis papás llegaron aquí y yo trabajé aquí los files de jóvenes, en el asadón, en las fresas, en las duraznos trabajando. Y yo también fui hice policía y yo tenía también tener esas decisiones. Si le quito el coche a una persona, no va a poder ir a trabajar o no va a poder ponerle pan en la mesa. Es muchas decisiones que tienen a tomar los policías. Pero les digo, tienen el soporte del alcalde y los consejeros, y les digo que no tengan miedo aquí de hablar. Este es su departamento de policía, este es su jefe de policía. Entonces, no tengan miedo de hablarles. Aquí estamos para servirles y tener preguntas, y le voy a dar dirección al manejador de la ciudad que trabaje con la organización y para que nos den más información. Gracias.
Una cosa más quiero preguntarle al concilio. ¿Qué necesita usted de los residentes de aquí de Livingston para que se haga santuario Livingston?
Pues como expliqué, estoy muy orgulloso que vienen a hacer sus comentarios y seguir viniendo a las juntas para que también tengan información de lo que está pasando en su gobierno, lo de que está pasando en su ciudad. Y como expliqué, le voy a dar dirección al manejador que trabaje con ustedes para que tengamos más información. Sigan viniendo y para que estén informados de lo que está pasando en Livingston y en su comunidad.
We will follow up with the city manager. Also, is a city council member willing to work with us to find a resolution?
I'll be willing to do it. Quería decir algo también como hijo de padres inmigrantes. Esto es muy importante para mí. Obviamente la cantidad de personas que vinieron el día de hoy obviamente dice mucho. Si les agradecemos de corazón que vinieron todos a decir sus opiniones, sus historias, y vamos a tomar esto muy serio. Lo último que queremos es que ustedes tengan miedo, no se sientan seguros en su comunidad. Obviamente este es su pueblo, su comunidad, y para eso estamos aquí para servirles, hacer que todos se sientan seguros, no tengan miedo de llamar a la policía. Y como dijo el alcalde, vamos a trabajar para tratar de hacer algo, una resolución. Pero otra vez gracias. Yes, in English, thank you for coming out. Obviously this shows a lot of support and shows that it's very important for the community. So she had asked what you guys could do. Obviously you guys did it. You guys came out, told your stories and your concerns. So I just want to say that we're going to continue working as a city council and with the mayor and city manager. The last thing we want is for you guys to be afraid or concerned when you guys are out in the community. Don't be afraid to call the law enforcement. And once again, thanks for coming out.
Una cosa más, ustedes nos podrían dar su tarjeta para tener más comunicación con ustedes para si necesitan ayuda con la resolución también.
Sí.
Okay. Y trabajar juntos.
Sí.
Okay.
And again, thank you for coming and for your comments. Your comment? All right.
This topic really talks to me. I have several members of my own personal family who are undocumented, and their fear has definitely touched me and concerned me. But becoming a sanctuary city is a symbolic gesture. That is not enough. I used to work in the fields, and we had set up phone trees. So if ICE was ever seen in Merced County or Stanislaus, We got our text, and we text right away, so our community knew who was out there so they could get home as quickly as possible. I challenge this group to not stop at the symbolic gesture alone of becoming a sanctuary city. Let's take the time to work together. You have two councilmen right here who are willing to work with you to properly educate our community on their rights. The Mexican consulate has hotlines to focus on free legal advice for our undocumented citizens. We need to go further than just calling ourselves a sanctuary city. We need to take the time to educate our population on their rights, what they can do, and work together as a community to protect our community. Saying we're a sanctuary city is not enough. It is not enough. Furthermore, I challenge you not only with this city, but every city you go to follow some of my colleagues in the city of Oakland, where they have pledged and put into their ordinance that they will boycott and not allow any city money to go towards companies that are taking the RFPs to build the wall. So if you are part of building the wall, we will not give you any money. And I think that's important to add into our documentation as well.
Thank you, council member. That's very much appreciated, and we would actually love to invite the both of you and all of our city council members. We are having a Know Your Rights Forum on February 24th here in Livingston. We're actually looking for a location. So if you could facilitate us having access to City Hall and having that Know Your Rights Forum here, that would be amazing. And I want to also invite you all to our community meeting in Livingston, where we're meeting with community members to create a rapid response system, similar to what you talked about. And I would love for you to come and share with residents your experience with that phone tree, because it's really gonna take all of us working together in unity. So I will definitely follow up with you. And, you know, we are doing this throughout our county. We've met with Rodrigo, asking as well as county supervisor, will you support sanctuary policies? We're in Merced City. We're having Know Your Rights forums throughout Merced, Winton, Atwater, Livingston. And we're hoping that, you know, in this critical moment, our leaders, our community members are working hand in hand. So we'll follow up with that invite.
Our community is not just Latino, though. I want to make sure and encourage anyone from the Punjabi community who shares the same concerns, please come out to this event on the 24th. And you can also learn your rights. I will personally work with our staff here to make sure we have a translator there for that event.
Thank you so much. So el miembro del concilio, lo voy a decir bien rápido, dijo que no es suficiente declarar santuario, que también es importante que sepamos nuestros derechos, que también es importante que estemos trabajando en una respuesta local. Y lo acabamos de invitar a los dos miembros del concilio y a todo el concilio entero. Si quieren venir el 24 de febrero aquí en Livingston, vamos a tener ese taller de conocer tus derechos, y le hicimos la petición que si nos dejan usar este espacio estaría perfecto, y que también lo invitamos a que venga a reunirse con la gente de esta ciudad para planear ese foro y que nos dé ideas también. Vamos a estar trabajando juntos para eso. Y también mencionó que es muy importante que en esta comunidad no solamente hay latinos, también hay la comunidad punjabi y otras, y que los invita a que se unan ese día el 24 de febrero.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and
Mr. Mayor? Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, I commend the bravery of everybody coming out. It takes a lot of courage to say, we are here, we need help. That's right out of our national anthem, Home of the Brave. You guys are very brave to come out. We commend you all. And second, I respect the office of the president, but I have no respect for Mr. Trump. The man who married 3 immigrants will put this on other immigrants. That is hypocrisy at its very finest. And for you guys to come out and give him a perpetual bird, we commend you for it. And we will work with our city staff to agenda this item through the mayor, of course, at a later date.
Thank you so much. So acaba de decir el alcalde, miembro del concilio, que diga que él quiere comenzar diciendo que admira el valor de todos ustedes que estuvieron presentes el día de hoy, todos que compartieron sus testimonios, porque eso de verdad toma mucho valor. Y que también, dos, él respeta la presidencia, pero no respeta al presidente, porque es un presidente hipócrita que se ha casado con 3 inmigrantes y dice que no quiere inmigrantes, que no tiene respeto para ese presidente, y que 3, él se compromete que todo el concilio va a trabajar con el manager de esta ciudad para asegurarse que pasen una resolución.
Thank you. The last comment I'll have is I'm planning on having coffee with the mayor at least once a month, so citizens can come out and meet the mayor. And,
You are the mayor.
well, you know, coffee with the mayor. Come out and meet and talk, and, you know, hopefully I could plan it and maybe have something here where we could come and listen to not only, you know, these issues, but there's lots of challenges ahead for Livingston, and this is your community. I'd like to see what you'd like to see here in Livingston, and I'll be working with our county supervisor. So it'll probably be him and I, and maybe invite our chief, and we can come down and sit down, have some coffee, and just, you know, talk about issues or, you know, things or challenges that we have. So I'm planning and I'm hoping to have it by the end of this month or early next month. So les invito, estoy planeando tener un sábado una vez cada mes, un día cada mes, tener café y sentar con los consejeros o conmigo y el supervisor y hablar de muchas de las cosas que quieren ver en su ciudad, esta es su comunidad. So ya cuando tenga esa fecha, los ponemos en la caja electrónica o los mandamos en los biles del agua, y así también pueden conocernos y nos podemos sentar y a ver qué podemos planear para el futuro aquí en su ciudad. So, all right, thank you. So we'll close this item at 9 o'clock, and we're going to go ahead and move on to announcements and reports.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
as I've told you, I'm not feeling well. This item was very important to me. I have attended it. I wish I'm going to be excused from the dais for the rest of the remainder of the meeting.
All right.
So could you please enter that into the record?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Gorpal excused at 9.
Hope you feel better, Paul.
Yeah.
Get some rest.
I wanted to.
You can pass them out if anybody wants them. I didn't bring a whole bunch. But, tome una carta y si quiere pasarlos a más gente, porque nomás traje un poco. Uno para usted y si alguien más quiere. Sí,
Yeah, I'm going to go to the city manager, so I'm the city attorney. You can send me correspondence, that's fine.
You got a second?
Not an important council, I got a second city attorney.
Can I thank that young man for speaking real quick, or I wanted to go thank him for speaking. Do I have time or not?
Yeah, that way I could call Rodrigo up. We could get moving. It's 9 o'clock. You got to get to Sacramento. There's going to be a big touchy.
right, council, thank you very much. I don't think this works. So.
Thank you, Supervisor. Next, we'll move on to city staff announcements and reports. None? Okay. City manager announcements and reports. Are you feeling anything for Odie?
No, Odie said he was very sorry he was going to miss the meeting, especially he knew that the presentation, the very important presentation was happening. He is at a conference, finance director conference in Sacramento, and I know he'll have updates when he comes back.
Thank you. City council member announcements and reports. Council member McCabe.
I attended the League of California Cities Transportation Committee. I got appointed on that this year. So we're developing a lot of things at the state level for transportation and communications that goes statewide for our cities. I'm excited about the upcoming basketball. Let's like sport. Got baseball? Well, I'm excited about baseball then. Go sports.
Thank you, Councilmember Aguilar.
Just want to say I attended with the mayor and Councilmember Paul the active shooter training the police department had on Saturday. It was nice to see how well organized it was and how important it is to prepare and train for such events. So thank you for the invitation, Chief. It was nice to talk to the different officers and see that the school district was involved and participated in the different scenarios. Also want to take the time right now to thank everybody that's helped me, transition into the city council. The different department heads meeting with Chief, Jackie back there. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me and touch bases in general. Also the different members of the council and mayor. So I just want to, thank everybody. Just want to encourage everybody watching or hearing. members of the public to feel free to come to the meetings. It's very important that you, be involved and see what's going on in town. So just encourage everybody on the public to come into the meetings. And that's what
All right, thank you, member. Again, I'll reiterate with Councilman Aguilar. We attended the active shooter at the school, so it was nice to see different training scenarios, and it was a nice turnout with the school district and the police department. So it was nice to put that training out. So hopefully we never have to go through something scary like that. But it's good that you do that training, so it's not, well, what do we do? What do we do? So when you're informed, that's a way to save lives. So appreciate the training. And then also Supervisor Rodrigo and I and Councilmember Orsicaros were invited from the Merced Academy, invited us to support us. So they recognized the new elected officials. So it was a nice invitation, and it was a nice dinner. So I applaud them and I thank them. And other than that, like Councilmember Aguilar said, stay informed and come to our council meetings, and having information and knowledge, it keeps you, empowers you to stay active, and keeps you informed on what's going on in your city and your government. Other than that, I don't have anything else, and we'll move on to item 7, a resolution approving site plan and design review 2016-03 to develop the Livingston Community Health Campus on the south side of B Street, east of Winton Parkway, Livingston, California.
Before I start, Chief, do you have a remote for the PowerPoint? Okay. Could I ask someone to help me just move this forward, if you would? Thanks. Probably just the ones over here. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Okay, what we have going on is looking at the council approval of a site plan design review for the Livingston Community Health Campus. This project has gone before the Planning Commission at their January meeting. And at that meeting, they looked at, there are 3 elements to this project. One is the site plan design review, which you'll be looking at. And that is something the Planning Commission reviews, makes recommendation to you, and then you take final action. And then there is also a parcel map dividing the property into various parcels. Here was divided into 4 parcels, and that went before the Planning Commission. And according to our municipal code, as well as the State Subdivision Map Act, the Planning Commission could take final action on that, and they did so. And then as part of both of those approvals was an environmental analysis. And so the Planning Commission considered and approved the environmental analysis for their actions on the lot split, and they are recommending to the City Council that you consider and approve the environmental work prior to your approval of the site plan and design review. That's kind of a technical overview of what's before us. I'll briefly summarize. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Livingston Community Health is proposing to develop the largest of these parcels, and it's parcel A, as you can expands from the administration building to the medical building, a new dental building, as well as additional parking, additional landscaping, and particularly of note is kind of a plaza with landscaping, which would be a central feature of the campus. And then we move on to section 3, third phase, and that is the development of this fourth building. That right now they haven't exactly figured out what they're going to use this for. There's a variety of options under consideration. And then the final amount of parking and landscaping will be provided. All serves as a template or an example that would then be used for the other building. And so as part of the potential resolution of approval, I added conditions of approval, which would allow staff to use these materials and colors and the design to ensure that the other buildings are consistent with that, so they wouldn't have to come back to you for each and every new building that they build. And that's relatively inefficient, and this establishes the design, the tone, the materials, and colors, so we can move forward on that. Now, as I briefly mentioned in the beginning, before you take any action on this site plan or design, we have to follow state law relative to environmental review. This is categorized as a project with respect to the California Environmental Quality Act. And so as part of that, we have to analyze potential environmental effects at a specific number of categories. Now, the applicant did hire an environmental consultant to assist with that, and as part of the process, they do what's called an initial study and analyze the project in regards to all of these environmental conditions, analyzing the existing base conditions in the area, analyzing what, if any, effect the project would have at build-out, and then determine what, if any, impacts are as a result of the project and how they can be mitigated. As part of that process, staff was heavily involved in reviewing the material and analyzing the impacts coming up with mitigation measures. So even though it was initially drafted by a consultant hired by the applicant, it is a city document. The city owns that document and is responsible for that document. And so that's why it's critical that the city, and on your behalf, I'm the technical person looking at that, to ensure that it covers all of the aspects and that it fairly represents the environmental conditions and potential environmental effects. And so in that regard, we send out the document for a 21-day circulation. We send it to interested agencies and other departments in the city, and literally anybody that is interested. We post it on our website. We publish its availability in the state-required locations that it can be found. And so that gives those that are interested in looking at environmental documents a very clear place to find the document, and then a prescribed statewide consistent method to respond and comment on those documents. And then staff has a statewide prescribed way to respond to those comments. The good news is that we didn't get any comments that said we missed anything. We didn't get any comments that identified an impact that we didn't already know we had. We didn't get any comments that came up with a mitigation that we didn't already include. And so we were quite pleased with that, in that we covered all our bases. And so we have for your consideration as the first potential resolution is the approval of the environmental document and I've summarized in the past on what those mitigation measures are. They're part of the project, and then we have a mitigation and monitoring program, which so that everyone is contributing their proportionate fair share. Don't want to burden any project with more than their fair share, but unless you as council make it a priority as part of economic development or some other things, that a person, or a project rather, won't pay their calculated fair share. But then that's a value decision that you guys have, but my job is to tell you what that fair share amount is. And so we've established that here. So that's kind of a long thing about this, but we do have it in, Leslie is here representing the community health, Livingston Community Health itself. And then we've got our engineer, Chris Vieira here. We've got the environmental consultant, Charlie Simpson. We even have the architect. So if you have any architecture questions on the design and so forth, because I didn't spend a lot of time on that, and so you might have some questions. I spent more time in a written fashion describing it. The bottom line is, I think it's good design, and that it will add to the community, be an asset for the community. This, though, is very much providing services for the community in terms of health, both acute health and preventive health, and we're adding additional medical services that aren't here now. Most of the health care building services are transferring from their existing location on Main Street, which they've outgrown, and the county is taking back that building anyway. So those will continue in a more efficient way in a larger building with easier services. But one of these new buildings is going to add dental care. We don't have that from them now. And then that additional building may provide some other medical services that we don't have here. So this is a big plus. But because their service area is much larger than the city of Livingston, people from outside our city all the buttons. So with that,
resolutions?
Yeah, and just for the record, there are two resolutions. The staff report does not, on the recommendation section, doesn't cover both of them, but as Randy explained, there are two resolutions in the packet, and I've taken them out of the actual order. The first one that needs to be done is the one related to the environmental, and then we do the site plan and design review.
All right, so I'll let you.
Councilmember McCabe?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Mayor Soria?
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 3-0.
Resolution number 2. This resolution of the City Council pursuant to Livingston Municipal Code Section 567, Livingston Community Health Application Owner. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Livingston, approval site plan and design review 26D-03 for the Livingston Community Health Project. Are there any motions?
So moved.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2.
I second.
Roll call?
Councilmember McCabe?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Mayor Soria?
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 3-0.
Julio Valadez, P.O. Box 777, Livingston. So I do have a I don't know, suggestion, maybe an urgent care in that other building. We have just 2 hospitals, but an urgent care would be great for Livingston.
Luis Flores 707 Almonwood Drive. Just 2 quick things. I know I've asked this in the past about any updates on the manager search. If anything you can report out, just sort of a status update and timeline update. And then my second thing is I recall I mentioned this a few months ago about sort of creating notices or warning signs by the railroad tracks here on Main Street. In December, there was a railroad death in Merced, and that reminded me that there wasn't any follow-up done. And I know I mentioned in the past because one of our students in the district passed away from a railroad train incident last year, if not the year before. So I know Odie mentioned that he was going to talk to Pacific Rail to get some sort of signs out there, just like warning, if you hear it, you're not faster than the train, wait, some sort of notice there. So any updates on those 2 fronts, I'd be down to hear. Thank you.
Regarding the city manager recruitment, the city council is still evaluating what its options are regarding the recruitment. With the recruitment having gone out, the council is still looking at to see where they're going to go.
Catherine Shaw Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163. Simple question. What do we got to do to get the audio video system fixed? I mean, on the one night when the chamber is packed out to the hilt, the audio system isn't working, and is the video system working? What do we got to do to get things to work?
That I know our city manager's not here, and that's something that concerns me too, so I want people to be informed. So as soon as he's back, we'll make sure that we look into it and get that addressed.
And he is, Mayor, looking at the different issues now, and actually has made this a priority. But I know we've had several discussions about this, so he's making this a priority.
I mean, it's fairly easy to hear when, like, I'm here and I can hear your voices. The distance is not that great. But when there are many people and there is a slight buzz in the room from many people, if the system isn't working, it's really difficult to hear.
Councilmember McCabe?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Mayor Soria?
Yes.
Motion approved 3-0. Okay, roll call. Councilmember McCabe?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Mayor Soria?
Yes.
Motion approved 3-0.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, rest City Council members. Noe Martinez from the Office of the City Engineer. Commendation tonight is to adopt a resolution approving the purchase of the management software called PupWorks, and would be used for fleet maintenance, work orders, service requests, and asset management, among others. To give you a quick background, currently city staff relies mostly on manual paperwork or limited electronic usage for scheduling fleet equipment maintenance and completing repairs, processing work orders, managing the city's fixed assets inventory, tracking operations and preparing reports, monitoring and controlling costs, responding to service calls, and among other city functions. PupWorks would streamline these functions and increase efficiency for various city departments, including fleet maintenance, streets, parks, water, sewer, facilities department, police, fire, office of public works, city hall, and finance. One of the features of this software is the features of this software is the online service request, which would provide the Livingston citizens a more user-friendly approach for submitting requests for services and/or repairs. Staff considers several software companies for this city application, including PubWorks itself, then Managers Plus, Dozier, and among others. And PubWorks was the only management software that provided a module for all of the city's areas that we wanted to address, including fleet maintenance, streets, parks, LMDs, water, sewer, and facilities. All the other companies were able to provide 2 or 3 of the modules. The one-time cost for purchasing and setting up the software is $34,038.32. With this, staff recommends that the City Council approve the purchase of PubWorks. And just to note, this cost was included in the in the budget for fiscal year 2016-2017, and it would be funded from the water enterprise, sewer enterprise, streets, parks, LMDs, and partly from police. With this, I will address any questions. We actually contacted several firms, as I mentioned, and unless we did an RFP, we wouldn't be able to determine if the others meet that requirement. The timeline? So what we would do is basically execute the agreement with the company, and then they would come in, set up the software, the computers, and then they would basically upload all the data and that we need as part of the software. And as far as timelines, we would be determining that with the company once they're on board. Actually, we've been looking into this for several months, if not a year. And unfortunately, Ori's not here to comment on that, but we did do our due diligence on procuring this software. Probably. What I can tell you is that we did contact other manufacturers that provide similar services, or other companies, and this was the one that was able to provide all the services that we were looking for. Most of them didn't provide that. Yes. No. Yes, it's they gave us a list of cities that they're using in the state of California and other states as well. No. I'm not sure. It's we would have both options, either do it online or call in. Yes. Correct. One of the key features of a management software is that you can centralize all the data. You can store it and then easily access when needed, and among other benefits that come with it.
Well,
If I may, and just for the record, I think the staff report does indicate, Noe, that you did do the due diligence looking at other manufacturers or other folks that do this and have determined that this is more of a sole source where this actual entity is the only entity that's providing you the exact software for Livingston, like what you're looking for, correct?
Correct.
Well, then this is coding though. Any of these companies could add an additional widget to this management software. If there's not even one other city in this county that's utilizing it, that concerns me.
And just pointing out what the analysis of staff has been and what staff report.
And I don't feel it's complete.
Like I said, these other companies that we contacted did not provide those services, and if we would have done an RFP, we probably would have gotten more companies involved, and they could have probably, they could have okay. Correct.
Approve the purchase of this management software public works for fleet maintenance, work order service request, and asset management. I second.
Okay. Councilmember McCabe?
No.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Mayor Soria?
Yes.
Motion fails by a vote of 2 to 1.
Okay, so we could just move on, and then I know the city manager will be in touch with staff about what the next steps are.
All right, and we will move on to item 17. Thank you. Introduce and waive the first reading of ordinance amending portions of Chapter 12, Title 9 of the Livingston Municipal Code pertaining to urban stormwater quality management and amending Section 5-5-5 of the Livingston Municipal Code pertaining to specific use regulations.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and rest of the City Council members. Noe Martinez again, from the Office of the City Engineer. The recommendation tonight for this item is to introduce and waive the first reading of an ordinance amending portions of Chapter 12 of Title 9 of the Livingston Municipal Code pertaining to urban stormwater quality management and amending Section 5-5-5 of the Livingston Municipal Code pertaining to specific use regulations. To give you a quick background, ordinance number 625 was adopted by the City Council on November 3rd, 2015 and codified in the Livingston Municipal Code as Chapter 12 of Title 9. This ordinance provides that the City of Livingston, as an MS4 operator, would prohibit the discharge of materials of substances other than storm water, except for authorized discharges into the city's storm drain system, and establishes a procedure for enforcement and sanctions against illicit discharges, construction activities, violations, and illegal connections that may pose a threat of pollutant discharges to receiving waters. Then ordinance number 533 was adopted by the City Council on August 16, 2005, and was codified in the Livingston Municipal Code as Chapter 5 of Title 5. This ordinance was passed to regulate certain businesses and activities within the City of Livingston. Section 5 of Chapter 5 specifically outlines the prohibited operation within premises, including an unreasonable amount of noise, odor, dust, mud, smoke, vibration, or electrical interface. Changes to Ordinance 625 are needed to establish adequate legal authority for construction activities and industrial operators pursuant to the California Water Resources Control Board. Then Ordinance 533 is being amended to include the prohibition of any application of pesticides or herbicides with active ingredients containing diazinon or chlorovirus. With this, I will address any questions.
All right, I'll open up public comment, 10:03.
Okay, Catherine Shaw Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163 again. My question is about the diazinon, or that would be the chlorophylls. Does that prohibit everyone within the city from using those two chemicals, or is it just city and businesses only?
Yes, the intent is to prohibit this use within city limits completely.
I thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we'll close it at 10:04. Bring it back to council. Motion. I'll make the motion to introduce and waive the first reading of ordinance, the number amending portions of Chapter 12 of Title 9 of the Livingston Municipal Code pertaining to the urban stormwater quality management, and amending Section 555 of the Livingston Municipal Code pertaining to specific use regulations. Roll call.
Councilmember McCabe.
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar.
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote 3-0.
And we will move on to item 20, a resolution 2017 approving updated employee classification and salary schedule titled Office Assistant to Police. Yes, 20.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. You have before you the staff report. This has been in progress for probably over a year. 2009, the City Council approved a police office assistant 2 position. It was frozen. It was quickly frozen, so it was never filled. And so, 2012, due to some of the financial difficulties the city was facing, we laid off 2 full-time positions. One was a police assistant, one was a, public service officer, and then a police assistant. Both those staff members assisted the public, but more importantly, we had a full-time person in our evidence room. Since then, when those positions were laid off, all other staff had to absorb the work, which is fine, until more recently when additional staff work has been overloading our staff. So posted an audit of our evidence room, and this is something that's very common within the industry. We hired, well, I shouldn't say we hired, it's a Post does it as a service. We had a very well qualified evidence technician come to Livingston, did a long study, interviewed our staff, found out that one of the long report came out, and one of the things that they recommended is that we have a full-time evidence. And so again, we have a sergeant doing that work. He does at least 16 hours a week. Most of it is on off-duty hours, so he's actually incurring some overtime costs. The person to manage our evidence is very critical to the successful prosecution and preservation of those cases to go forward. So over the last couple years, several things have come into play. One is we supported the council direction on the body cameras. We've got body cameras for all our officers. We've got in-car video. They're a fabulous tool for us in law enforcement. However, along the same lines, we now have evidence that the district attorney would like in every single case. And it takes one person several hours to produce one DVD and turn over to the district attorney. And so when you get multiple cases, it takes quite a bit of time. In addition, we're actually getting requests from defense attorneys as well, and we have to go through that process as well. Several laws came into effect recently. One of them is the misdemeanor non-filing, and I mentioned this earlier. Basically, a case was heard in state court that required all law enforcement agencies to remove any reference to a person getting arrested for a misdemeanor if they were not convicted. So basically, it's not an arrest, it's a detention. So we have to go back probably 3 to 4 years in every single case we have and remove that reference. Now we're working on a technology solution, some software to do that, but it is labor intensive to go through those cases and review those. And so at this point, we need to have a person full-time. This position, basically, it's Office Assistant 2. We took the original approval by council, added a little bit more of the job responsibilities to oversee evidence, and then on top of that, they're going to assist in other areas. It is an item that's already budgeted. It's been budgeted for the last year. However, it's never come to the point where we're asking City Council to approve the changes, and basically the salary was going to be increased just a little bit, and so we're asking Council to assist in that area, and this will help our department out in many ways to ensure that we are compliant with regulations and laws that we're responsible for, and to assist our staff in reducing the workload.
Chief, we'll open it up for public comment at 10:10. I don't see anybody in the back.
Motion approving the updated employee classification and salary schedule titled Office Assistant 2 release.
We have a motion. I wanted to make a comment to the side. Thank you, Chief. I know it's very critical, and like I mentioned before, it's something that I want our city and departments to move forward with efficiency. And I think the public, demands it and deserves it. And I know being law enforcement, the chain of evidence is very critical. You can lose cases, important cases, if the chain of custody is broken anywhere. And taking the time for a sergeant to do those duties is costing, I think, more, and the efficiency breaks down. That sergeant should be out on the street monitoring his officers. So
absolutely.
I do feel the need that we do need to have that, chain of custody. So we have a motion and we have a second. Roll call.
Councilmember McCabe.
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar.
Yes.
Mayor Soria.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote 3-0.
Thank you.
And that concludes our council meeting Tuesday, 2017. 7. Have a good evening. Careful going home. I don't know if it'll rain.